right. Good morning. Um, it is November 1st, 2025. I'm going to read I am Nancy Moore, and I'm in the uh, New Orleans area, New Orleans, Louisiana area. Um, Racism is the slogan of the group Erace, which was formed in New Orleans in the summer of 1993. We seek ways through person-to-person communication to show that we are committed to treating fellow human beings of all colors with love and respect. Join us. Erace is an organization that does not espouse any political party, and we have no religious affiliation. We believe in acceptance of all people, and no personal attacks of any kind will be tolerated. We come with an intention to listen and learn and not to argue. Okay, next I will read the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that what we know as the United States is the traditional territory of indigenous peoples, and that there are many more nations and tribes that could be named. Members of our group today are on the lands of the Tonkawan, the Lipan, Apache, Comanche, and Austin, the Chitimacha and the Choctaw in New Orleans, the Greeks and Cherokees in Atlanta, the Lenape and Piscataway in Maryland, the Wampanoag, the Nipmuc people in Boston, and the Kahua Mojave in Riverside County, California. We thank their ancestors for being stewards of these lands through the generations and through today. Okay, next we'll go around and we'll introduce ourselves, starting with Phyllis.
Good morning, I'm Phyllis. I'm in New Orleans, and I've been coming to Erace since the summer of 2008.
Beatrice.
Good morning, I'm Beatrice in East Point, right outside of Atlanta, and I've been coming to Erace since 1993-94 when I lived in New Orleans.
Thank you. Malcolm?
Hello there. How's everybody? I'm
Hi.
Malcolm Reed. I'm a long way from all of you. I'm out here in Denver. And
Mm.
I'm just, I say within last 6 months or so, I've just joined you guys' group. But it's interesting. Love to see you guys.
Thank you for coming.
Hey.
Marla, yeah.
Hello, I'm Marla. I am in the New Orleans area, and I've been attending meetings since around 2019.
Thank you. Glenn? Glenn? Okay, Glenn must have took a bathroom break. Amal?
Yes, I'm Amal and been coming to Erace since 1997.
Okay, great. We have a few rules. Everyone has been to these meetings before, but I will go over them anyway. We ask that you keep yourselves on mute unless you're speaking. We will raise one finger to be put on the list and then, kind of move it around or wave it or something so that I can see it. We speak in the order of the list. We try to keep our comments to 2 minutes. We be respectful. We don't interrupt the speaker, no side comments, no personal attacks, no name calling, because the point of the discussion is to listen, learn, and not to argue. You can have a clarifying question, which is raising 2 fingers to indicate that it's clarifying. And your question is, could you please further explain what you meant by, or I didn't exactly understand what you meant by, okay? And there are only 2 people for a clarifying question per speaker. Okay. The reason that I brought the topic, okay, the direction of the current administration, in my opinion, is very disturbing when it comes to people of color and immigrants and anybody who is not white and male, to be exact. Um, and I just felt that when I saw this article, or I don't know, it was something somebody had posted on Facebook, and I did a little more digging to see if I could find, a whole article, because it was just a blurb on Facebook. And I was like, that's awful. Um, that is a platform um, for segregation. And it would not surprise me if the administration kind of picked up on his comments and his lead to say that it is all right. I mean, in the past that there have been covenants in developments that restricted sales to certain people, certain religions, um, certain ethnic groups that couldn't buy into a certain neighborhood. And this could be a gateway to any proposed legislation or practices in that manner. And it's scary. It's very scary to me. I find it very scary. So, anyway, that is why I brought this topic. Okay. There's anything that I left out, um, let me know. And so, therefore, the list is open. Malcolm and then Marla.
Thank you. I guess as I read this article, I thought about we have. It seems that we're stepping backwards since this administration came into power, and I think we were on that way when first time that our president was elected, and we seem to be heading down that path, even with 2025 and all the things that it says. So I guess at this point, I'm concerned too. But he does bring up one point that seems to just blow me out of the water, is that his overall thought about that you should be able to know who your neighbor is, and if you must have something in common with them. So that means when I get ready to go buy another house, I need to check the neighborhood out first, go to next door and talk to them, or talk to somebody to see if I'm willing to want to stay next door to them. I think we went through that before, way back in the 60s and 50s and the 60s. So um, uh, we're moving toward the middle, not middle, no, we're moving toward the right side of this whole thing, and it's starting to really bother me too. That's what I have to
Okay.
start this off with.
Okay. Thank you, Malcolm.
It's a clarifying question.
Sure.
Um, to Malcolm, you said that it seems like the country is moving backwards. You say,
Yeah.
yeah. At what point in time was it ever moving forward?
Whoa, that's a very good analogy that you brought there. When we were moving forward, I think that um, after the Civil Rights Movement Act was passed, along with Title IX and 10, I thought that we were moving forward. Um, and maybe I looked at it through a different set of lenses, because as during that time I was in college. So I thought we were moving forward in a number of things. So maybe I had these rosy colored glasses on, or maybe I was wanting and hoping that we were.
Okay. Thank you, Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Marla?
Yeah. This is a little off track from the article, but also about JD Vance. The irony of him talking this way when he has a brown-skinned wife. I mean, it's not surprising, obviously, because he's a white dude, but The latest thing in the news, if anybody has seen, is this interaction that JD Vance and Erica Kirk had on stage. And I'm just going to go ahead and go on record. I have never hugged one of my husband's friends like she hugged JD Vance. I wholeheartedly think this is all a part of the script, and I expect to see JD Vance and Erica Kirk together eventually in the future. And I don't know who said it, but someone online, in the spirit of Ghost, if you've ever seen that movie, Usha, you in danger, girl. Like, she needs to get out of there now. She really does. Anyway, that's it for now.
Okay. Thank you, Marla. I'll have to go check that out. I didn't see that. So that's an interesting, perspective on not only their relationship, but the direction of, like I said, the administration. Um, Beatrice.
Wow, what an awful thing for this man to say out loud. He's hollering the quiet part. First of all, when he says it is totally reasonable and acceptable for American citizens, who are American citizens? Who is he talking about? Are there certain people who are American citizens? Does he have a concept of who an American is? Why does he want his world to be so small that the only people that he knows are people that either just wear cowboy hats, and that there's something in his mind that if somebody doesn't speak your language, somebody doesn't worship as you do, somebody that you shouldn't live next to them. You shouldn't learn more about a different kind of world, learn a different language, learn how to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. I mean, so small is your little world, brother man. I feel sorry for you because the world is going to get bigger and bigger, and you're getting ready to get lost. I just think he's saying this to have said this, and you're right. It harkens back to, do you want these people in your neighborhood? When Black people were moving in different neighborhoods, it is very disturbing that this is an elected official in this government, a heartbeat away from somebody whose heart is beating. We don't know what he even has a heart. This is very disturbing, the kinds of things that he has said. And it again, we're demonizing immigrants. In a way, we're saying that there are certain people who are not acceptable as a part of this country, more marginalizing of people, not to mention what ICE is doing. It's hard not to get discouraged. It really is. But I just think for him to have said this, that it's reasonable and acceptable for people to not want to live by people whose culture they don't share. Do you realize how small you sound, little man, little man, with your evil self? You hillbilly elegy man, please go sit down, please. This is disturbing to me. Saying this is very disturbing. And it tells something about the thought process and the narrow-mindedness of people who are now in charge of this government. It's frightening, very frightening.
Thank you. The list is open. Malcolm.
Yeah, put me on.
Okay, we have Malcolm and then Amal.
Okay. I'm glad you brought up that picture. I just was reading this, and this morning I was just reading the article where he had went to that function and what was going on there. But the even better one than that is that he was talking about his family in this one article, and he was talking about the kids are being raised as Christians because he's a Catholic and she's was it Muslim? Anyway, but he's hoping that eventually she would become a Christian. He wants to lead this whole family to be Christians and not let her keep her faith. And hey, if he didn't show his colors then, the colors are bright to me where he is and what he's trying to do and what the program is all about. And I think that you're right. I think that Miss Kirk is going to be the new JD Vance partner here eventually one of these days. Because the last time I got a hug like that, I married the person. and then she hugged somebody else and I left. So, but but thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. All right, Amal.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen that hug yet. I gotta go back and check that out. But as it relates to the article, I'm I'm actually not offended by what he said. Um, because Vance is the type of person I wouldn't want to live next door to. So I'm actually not offended by what he said. Um, I wouldn't want to live next door to Donald Trump. Now, there's a difference between not wanting to live next door to them and thinking they should have a right to live next door. And that's the tone I get from this article. It's like these people not only don't have a right to be in the country, I don't think they should have a right to move into my neighborhood. And that's what I'm hearing in the article. Now, if I just personally American citizen, he said that they should speak English. They got some English speaking people that I've lived next door to that I had nothing in common with. So I just think that he don't take the time to get to know his neighbors or the world that he lives in, because once again, thinking a person should have a right to live next door to you and just not wanting them to live next door to you are two different things. And Vance is not the type of person that I would want to live next door to. So I'm actually not offended by what he said. You fall in that category yourself. Person that people would not want to live next door to. So I'm not offended by his comments.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, you have a clarifying question, Malcolm?
Yeah. I guess what I'm going to ask Glenn is that then when
Glenn
people
or Amal?
or Maul, excuse me, I'm sorry,
Amal.
Maul.
Okay.
I guess, and then you would say that if I decide to look at a home in a gated community, then I have a right to do that if I can afford it. But then I need to think about who's going to be living next door to me. Is that what you're saying?
Amal?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. If whether you can whether the community is gated or ungated, I don't care. If you want to live there, you have a right to live there. But once again, wanting to live there and having a right to live there is two different things. Like I say, I wouldn't want a Vance living next door to me, but he's got a right to be there if he wants to be.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. Malcolm, do you want to get on the list?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next, we have Phyllis, Glenn, and then Malcolm.
First I want to say the hillbillies don't acclaim JD Vance as a fellow hillbilly. They don't see that his book is BS. And also, Marla shared the link to the picture, and I am going to share it with you all. Can you see it?
Mm-mm.
You see it?
No, I don't see it.
It's trying to come up. Oh, yep.
There it is.
Okay. That's one. That's the other one.
Don't forget the pants, the pleather pants.
Yeah, I know some women that won't fight her for hugging their husbands like that.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
I know some women who would want to fight her for hugging their husbands like that. But that's the women I know. I ain't say everybody know people like that.
So, I don't want to judge what she's wearing, but Charlie hasn't been dead that long. It's not widow wear. um, and I, Usha Vance is Hindu, not Muslim, first of all. And I think, it's scary because their kids are biracial. And if Usha's smart, she's going to file for divorce and make sure she gets custody of her kids so that Erica Vance isn't raising them. Erica Kirk isn't raising them.
I was about to say they got married already.
It was quick. And I think it's, like, it's one thing for us to have a first lady like we do now who wasn't born in this country, but she's still white. And the MAGA people are not going to accept a brown first lady, who's not even Christian. And I don't know. I think when Usha and JD met and got married, I don't know that he was so conservative as he is now. I mean, I saw some pictures of him with her family, and he's wearing, clothes that were from her culture. And that's what people who are in multicultural relationships should do, like honor your partner's culture. And now I don't see him ever letting himself be photographed dressed like that, because people would lose it. And
Phyllis, you want to get back on list?
Maybe later, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, we have Glenn, Malcolm, and then Beatrice.
Okay. The statement that J.D. Vance made, you got to remember, he is a politician. And Trump is not going to be around for a third term, and he may not even be around for, to finish out his term. So he has to move into Trump's base by saying these kind of things. Now, putting that aside, African Americans do not like living by someone who don't speak their language. Oh, look at Nancy making all them faces. Oh, wait, let me tell you, I got the facts.
Okay.
The Vietnamese moved into a black neighborhood in New Orleans East, and black people acted like how white people act when we come into their neighborhood. They fled out of that neighborhood. Now that it's all Vietnamese back there, all the blacks sold out to get away from the Vietnamese. And I don't think, if you can afford it or not, that you move into another person's neighborhood and change their culture. Uh, uh, you know, black people got it so bad because they've been raised through slavery and beyond slavery not to like one another. They want to be around other people, rather be around other people than to be around themselves. What's wrong with your neighborhood? Why not you have what they call, what the white man do, gentrification to your neighborhood?
Glenn, do you want to get back on the list?
Oh, sure, I do.
Oh, okay. Great. All right. We have Malcolm, Beatrice, Phyllis, and then Glenn. Again. Malcolm.
Thank you. Just let me say this. I think that everybody's point is well taken, and I don't want us to get into being so into what he's done on the side as much as what we're willing to accept as we read this article. You know, there's some things in this article, and I just was going back and I had underlined it, a couple of things that concern me the most is that um, as he's making these statements and everything, are the people over in uh, HUD and everywhere else going to start changing their rules in order to facilitate and make sure that certain people aren't moving in certain areas, or they take down a lot of our civil rights uh, laws that we have for housing and so forth, and then say that they feel that there's no need for them anymore. And I just don't want that to happen. And so I guess I want us to lose sight of that as we talk about this, because I think that it may be another smokescreen as they're working toward changing some things that are very dear to us and everything. So I just would ask that you uh, continue to be very vigilant of what's going on. That's all with that whole that his whole comment that he's making, including religion and Christianity and all that. So that's all.
Thank you, Malcolm. Well, Beatrice is not. Okay, here she comes. All right,
Sorry,
Beatrice.
I saw a cat come on my porch. I had to go pour some more milk. Um, this hypothetical that he puts up about immigrants, he misses the point that a landlord who charges, he misses the point of who is the victim here, not the person who lives next to people, who may have more of what you consider more people in the residence. His whole viewpoint is unfair, unkind, racist. It just creates more of the lack of sense of community that we're going to have if we're going to really be a good, solid country. Um, People used to sit on porches, and people used to know their neighbors, and we some kind of isolation. There's a lot that is happening that's changing the country, but certainly the lack of a sense of community is one. And I think we are so many. Sometimes we're in silos about certain political issues. Sometimes we have confirmation bias where we only listen to things that support us. But my grave concern is that people who are in positions of power have lost the moral compass to guide us to who we really need to be as a people. And this man is an embarrassment to me as an American citizen, that he stands second to the highest office in this land. And he will say out loud these kinds of ugly racist things. I hear Glenn saying, and he's right, that he's auditioning for another role later on. Well, it's just I hate to see that happening. And Glenn, and sometimes, there may be some African American people who don't want to live by some other people. This is everything that much of what we say, we can say some this, some people this, some people that. When people move into my little short block, I go across and take a little note with my name, my phone number, when trash is picked up, if I can help you. Some Haitian people moved across the street about a year ago. And I went over and took some, did my little welcome note with some pralines. I got too much time. Oh no, anyway, pralines in the bag. And I put the little French that I remembered from high school. And so when the guy called me, start talking French, I said, oh no, baby. Oh no, I don't. That was all I knew. But at any rate.
You want to get back on the list?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, not, yeah, later.
Yeah, okay. All right. So next we have Phyllis, Glenn, and then Marla.
Well, I wanted to comment that we're not supposed to generalize and say all about any group of people having any thoughts or feelings about a certain situation. It also sounded like Glenn was saying segregation is okay if it seemingly benefits Black people. And also I want to say, if somebody from another culture moves into your neighborhood, you need to take them some food that you cooked and share it with them. and then you will get some good food back. And then you will be a happy neighbor. And you don't even have to speak the language. You can just say, I offer you this food. I had neighbors in my former building across the hall from me. It was a couple from India who were both researchers at Tulane. They, of course, spoke English because they worked at Tulane. And we traded food back and forth, and they were lovely. And yeah, it's communities are only strengthened by diversity. And if anybody rejects having diversity, I just feel very sorry for them.
Okay, thank you, Phyllis. Next we have Glenn.
Yes, you know, like I say, we were taught uh, not to respect our own leadership, not to respect ourselves,
Mhm.
to have a certain hatred for ourselves. And that's why, out of all Americans, we have killed more of our people than anybody else. And so, when our uh, educated people and our professional people left the neighborhood, they went into somebody else's neighborhood uh, instead of staying right where they are and and make their neighborhood a beautiful neighborhood. The neighborhood I was born in, I love that neighborhood. I didn't want to go to a white area or to a white neighborhood. I love the area I was in, uh, and in our culture that we had, we had a more of a family culture. Uh, Somebody got married at the wedding, they'll have the wedding reception in their backyard. Or if somebody needed some money, raise some money for some reason, they would give what they call a supper, and they would have a jukebox, and then they'd have the food and the drinks and everything. So it was if I had no desire to want to go live in a white neighborhood, but we are, but they have a lot of us think they like the Jefferson. We got to move on up to the east side. Yeah, uh, uh, we need the status of living in a white neighborhood.
Glenn, do you want to get
Yes,
back on the list?
I'll wait.
Malcolm, did
Can I
you
can I
want to
ask
get on?
a clarifying question to Glenn?
Yes.
Um, as it relates to the neighborhood you say you grew up in, um, and the rest of your comments about the black people living around and amongst black people and not wanting others to come in or you going into others' neighborhood, is that more of a cultural not wanting to, or is that a racial not wanting to?
Okay, I'm trying to understand the two different things you're talking about. Me born in a certain neighborhood, then you're talking about something else. Well,
Let me let
give
me
me
let
some
me
clarity.
let me rephrase the question. You said you was talking about the neighborhood that you was raised in and how you enjoyed living in that neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and that you would not want to leave that neighborhood to go
Mm-hmm.
into another, right?
Right.
Okay, so what I'm asking is that you not wanting to move into a white neighborhood or anybody else's for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Is that more of a cultural not wanting to move into those other neighborhood, or is it a racial, meaning that you so enjoy your cultural way of existing in your own neighborhood, you wouldn't want to give that up to go and move into someone else's?
All right. I'm comfortable with I was raised around. I'm comfortable with it,
Okay,
and
is that a cultural comfortability or a racial one is what I'm asking.
that is cultural.
Okay, it's cultural.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have Marla next. And would anyone else like to get on the list?
Sure, I'll get on.
Okay,
Okay.
Marla.
Yeah. I just have been sitting here kind of thinking about the things that JD Vance has said. and how Amal said it wasn't offensive. I I do think that when a white person says something about other cultures, aka people who don't look like white people, coming into their space or being in their space, that to me hits directly as xenophobia and racism, whether it's a right to or a desire to. Either way, it's really yuck to me. But if I hear Black folks say it or brown folks say it about white people not wanting to be next to white people, I get that. I mean, I don't think that is offensive in the slightest, because it it feels like, why should I expect that Black or brown folks would want me around in their space based on already how things are systemically? I don't expect that someone would want me in their space. I mean, I'd like to think I'm a good neighbor, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I also have an understanding, if I happen to be the only white person who moved onto an all Black or brown street, Asian, whatever, I don't know that I would expect to feel welcomed. I don't know if that's making any sense at all, but I had other thoughts too, and now I lost them. But anyway, I'm saying I get it. I guess it's kind of the same thing about like white people expecting to be invited to the barbecue. I no, like just no. I don't ever expect that. Anyway, that's it for now.
Okay, thank you.
You put me back on.
Okay, yeah, I'll put you back on. Can I pose a question?
No.
You know what, Glenn? I'm paying on it. Oh, I done took Marion's place. That's what's happened. You know, I used to harass her. Now you're gonna harass me. Okay. Um, you know, in and Beatrice lived in DC. I'm not sure what time frame you lived in DC. I think it was later than me. But I lived in DC in the 70s and the 80s and whatnot.
68 to
And
94.
oh, you were there when I was there. Okay. All right. Well, then you know about urban pioneers and gentrification, right? I would say, I'm just going to use the U Street corridor as an example.
Mm,
You know
yeah.
about that, Malcolm?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Where, white folks were staking their claim because it was cheaper, it was downtown, it was closer to work. There were a lot of reasons why, it happened. And so I guess, my point is, and they even have a TV show called The Neighborhood, where a white family moves into a black neighborhood because that's what they could afford. And so I think that there are a lot of reasons why. I'm just posing this as a question, as food for thought, as why white people would move into a black neighborhood, but also to address Glenn, why black people would move into a white neighborhood for reasons of um, more for your money, okay, better school system. There's a lot of reasons why black people moved out of black neighborhoods into white neighborhoods, better education, suburban, less crime, whatever the case may be. I know my parents moved out of our neighborhood because of the crime. Um, that's just kind of like food for thought as to why people move into different neighborhoods. Okay, we can continue. I have Amal. I have Glenn. Does anyone else want? Anyone
I
else want
guess
to
they
be on
missed
the
me the
list?
last time.
I did. I'm so sorry.
That's all,
Okay.
yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right, Malcolm.
And here's what I want to do real quick, everyone, is to bring one thing up that is very clear and that we need to understand with what J.D. Vance was saying and how I took it when you take it over a large area of our discussion. One, I think it's very clear that he is making it very clear to us where he's coming from and where he's feeling that he needs to go. That's one. But two, if we sit and think about it long enough, he's bringing it back to the point where he forcing us to rethink what we've done, and that is truly to rethink the fact that, as far as we're concerned, we have the right to live where we want to live, but we also have the right to pick who we want to live next door to us, and we should be allowed to do that. And I think that if we lose sight of that, then we're going to lose sight of the fact that what we were talking about this article is it is about anti-immigration. It is about the fact that um, over the long range, we have discrimination within our race, and it's just like real quickly when I got my doctorate, there were people who are people of color who then said to me, "Oh, now that you got your doctorate, do you think you better than me?" Well, um, when I got my doctorate, I wasn't thinking about being better than anybody. I was thinking about my income going up, so I could, uh, I guess, so I could move where I wanted to live. So I think that we need to not lose sight of what he's saying in an undertone way, and we should and not lose sight of the fact that if they get us into discussing about other things other than where he's coming from and what he's trying to do, we're going to be lost in a situation. And I think
Okay.
that's very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Malcolm. Okay, next we have Amal, then we have Glenn.
Yeah. When I said that I wasn't offended by Vance's statement, doesn't mean that I agreed with it. Just mean that it doesn't offend me because I think there's this um, there's this drive. You know, white folks have never shown them. I'm not surprised by his statement. I guess should have been a more accurate statement because white folks have never wanted to live historically around people who weren't white. The history, and I'm using history to back that statement up. One black person moves in, all of the white houses go up for sale. Before you know it, everybody's moved. So white folks have not historically proven themselves to want to live next to nobody else. So when I hear statements like that, I'm not surprised by it. That's why I asked. That's why when Malcolm spoke and I asked him the question, whenever did the country move forward? It's never moved forward. It's always been segregated in the United States. And nobody on this panel, if they're willing to be honest, can't say that there aren't places. You know where the white neighborhoods are in your city. You know where the black neighborhoods are in your city. Every major city has that. A black neighborhood, a white neighborhood, and if you go into other places, they'll have predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods or predominantly. Everybody knows what it is. So segregation, the United States has never been an integrated society in that sense of the word. And I'm not saying that that's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's never been that. So the idea of that we're going backwards, it's never moved forward. Is what you see is what this country has always been. And and I don't see it changing. I am not an integrationalist, but at the same time, I'm not a segregationist.
Amal, do you want to get back on the list?
Sure, sure.
Thank you. Glenn?
Okay, let's look at this thing with some clear eyes. Um, you know, all throughout America, America is a pluralistic country. It's not one thing. You had Little Italy, you had Chinatown, you had Germantown. All these enclaves. People who did not want to, a German did not want to be by an Irish person. They got together in their own places. The Italians didn't want to be around the Irish. So it's not just when you think of you just think always thinking, well, they don't want to be around blacks. They don't like being around each other. Uh, Now I don't want J.D. Vance in his group passing a law that make them can stop a person from living in a neighborhood. That's this kind of talk can lead to that, and I don't want that to happen. But uh, white people today are not uncomfortable living around black people because gentrification is putting them back in the black neighborhood. In New Orleans, I see them in my neighborhood where they never well they was back then. Yeah, they had white people in my neighborhood. Yeah, but even in the 50s, they had white people in my neighborhood. But it was predominantly an African American community. So and uh, I you know I have a Muslim brother that he's a Caucasian, but he is human.
Mm.
I don't see him as a white person. I see him as human. That's it.
Oh, well, Glenn, would you like to get back on the list and expound on that? Okay, Phyllis has a clarifying question.
Okay.
Don't you see all human beings as humans? Is there some, I don't
Uh,
understand.
yes. Okay, Phyllis. I see you as a human. Uh,
I wasn't talking about myself.
yeah, yeah. But just to say, I see you as a human. And but what I'm saying is that this person I'm speaking about don't have a racial bone in his body. Don't slip. Don't make no slip that he has a racial bone in his body. Some people who declare that work for the good of all people, but they slip and show they got that racial bone in them. So I just see him just as a human. Again, you coming twice? What's happening?
Do you mean racist bone?
What did I say?
Racial.
Yeah, what I say? Racial.
Racial. Do you mean racist?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you'll move forward.
Now, I want to ask a clarifying question too, as well.
Okay.
As it relates to you said that you used the example of the Germans, the Irish, and the Italians, and you said that they don't. The reason that they live in their own communities is because they don't like each other.
Correct.
Okay, so is it that they don't like each other, or do they have a
Look at
different
the
culture?
look at their history in Europe. How they
I ain't talking about in Europe. I'm
hold
talking
up,
about in the
hold up,
United
hold up,
States.
hold
Wait
up,
a minute.
hold up,
Wait a minute.
hold
We
up.
don't time out. We don't. Hey, I'm in control. Um, we don't go back and forth. That's one of the tenets and the ground rules of this organization and these meetings. Is that we do not go back and forth, and we let one person speak at a time. Okay. So we're just gonna cut this off right here, and I have ultimate control over that. And so I have them all next on the list. So all of you want to make comment, something that Glenn said, fine. And then Malcolm, you're next.
Well, no, I didn't want to make a comment about something. I was just asking a question.
Well, you're on the list next. Was there something that you wanted to say or you want to pass?
No, I wanted to ask the question about something they said. And if I'm on the list next, then that's fine too.
Okay. You're on the
So,
list. Go ahead.
oh,
Ask the question.
okay. So the question was, as it relates to the Germans, the Irish, and Italian here in the United States, being that they have their own communities. You said that they have their own communities because they don't like each other, or is this once again is that a cultural connection with those type of people that they have, not necessarily that we don't like them?
I
Okay.
can answer that.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, yeah. It's mainly cultural.
Okay.
all right. Next, we have Malcolm.
Wait. I thought I was on the list next.
Well, you have something to say, or well, you said you wanted to ask a question.
I
So you
did.
asked your question. Now,
I,
do
I
you have something else you want to say?
I asked the question because it was a clarifying question of something Glenn said when he spoke. Then you say I was on the list next. I'm saying, okay, so the question has nothing to do with the comment that I wanted.
Okay. So you're gonna make a comment?
Sure.
All right.
So, what I was saying when I spoke last is that being that I'm not an integrationalist doesn't automatically mean that I agree with segregation either, because like Malcolm X said that there's a difference between integration and segregation and separation. And he said that the segregation is what a superior imposes on an inferior, whereas separation is what two equals will agree upon. That's where I'm at. So we don't have to live around each other to get along. We don't have to be in the same neighborhoods to get along. We can be amongst ourselves and still be a whole community, because history has shown and proven that we could do that until we're interrupted, i.e., Tulsa.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Malcolm, you're next.
Well, I was hoping that Marla was still on, because I was going to say she's the perfect example of what her sweatshirt shows us that she's an Arkansas fan. Well, now I can remember when black folks did not care to be associated with Arkansas. But now, because she's an Arkansas fan, there's a whole bunch of people of all kind of colors involved with Arkansas. Just like I'm Maryland, and at one time, Maryland, I was going to school there and there was very few, but now there's tons of people of all races, and you say something bad about Maryland, and I don't care where we are, everybody who's in person in Maryland is going to jump on you, and we all band together because we have one thing in common, and that is the school that we went to. Sometimes it's the neighborhood you grew up in, and other times it is the point or opinion that someone has. So we need to just remember that is sometimes, we can say different things, and all of a sudden, because of where we are and who we've been with, we'll all group together and hey, we'll go looking for that person at Arkansas that said that the Maryland interpreters were slow and crazy, and so we go looking for them all as together. Not just one of us. We all just group together and go looking for them. So this expands out, folks. I mean, we'll be all right.
Phyllis?
Yeah, I want to go back to the concept of the German, Irish, Italians, etc., not getting along. I think when you're a new immigrant, or your group is a new immigrant to a place, you do want to kind of have a safe zone where your language is understood, your cultural traditions are understood, you feel safe from the people who might not like your immigrant group or any immigrant group. I think that's what happened when the Vietnamese came to New Orleans. It was more, you don't want to be spread out all over a city if, you're not going to necessarily feel accepted by anybody who currently lives there. I do think it's changed now. I don't think there's Irish neighborhoods and German neighborhoods and Italian neighborhoods, or Arab neighborhoods or Indian neighborhoods. I could be wrong about that. But I think nowadays, and Chinatowns are a good example. Everybody goes to Chinatown. It's not just for Chinese people. You've lived in a place where there's a Chinatown nearby. Everybody wants to go there and eat good, authentic food, experience the culture. I think that's a benefit to any society.
That's it. Okay. Glenn,
Yes, I'm next.
were you on? You weren't on the list. I didn't have you down on the list, but did you want to speak?
Yes.
Okay. And Malcolm, did you want to speak? I can't hear you. Okay. All right, Glenn, and then Malcolm.
Yeah. People still want that community cohesiveness. Uh, I was surprised when I went to different parts of Detroit and I seen street signs in Arabic. I went to a Walmart in the area where they dominate and I see food aisle in Arabic. Uh, so uh, people still want to have where they can practice their culture and be free and don't be criticized for their culture. They dominate the area, and so yes, that still is something that's one because America is pluralistic. Don't try to make us into some uh, some gumbo where everybody just mixed into one batch. People still want uh, their own neighborhoods. That's it.
All right, thank you. Malcolm and then Phyllis.
Okay. I'll make this very quick.
Take your time.
There are several series on television that address some of the things we've talked about, and one of those series is about about families of from Korea and the different breakdowns of the families in Korea and how they moved to another part of the country, and they moved into neighborhoods where they had similar thoughts and beliefs and so forth, and that was to protect themselves and be familiar. But also, there's another series called White Nights, which is a Korean and Japanese series where you learn where the distrust between those two races linger even on to today, only because some way long ago they mistrusted each other and have yet to get over it. And at the same time, they have worked together in order to become rich. So, we do a number of things that we may be opposed to, uh, but yet we'll do it in order to advance ourselves. So I think some of us are living in that situation. We are not living in it. We are part of that situation where we are maybe not where we think we want to be or should be, but we're going to do certain things because we want to move up and move forward.
Thank you, Malcolm. Phyllis?
So the comments I made my previous time was I was specifically talking about white Christian immigrants to this country, when they were early immigrants versus now. And I do think like I know in Houston, there was an area I was taken to that had a lot of Arab grocery stores and bakeries and things and restaurants. Um, and they were in that particular neighborhood. I don't know if they're in other neighborhoods too, because I'm not going to live long enough to explore all of Houston. But I think it's different because, in most people's mind, brown people are more visibly immigrant than, say, even an Irish person from Ireland who came yesterday. Even if they have an accent, they're going to get treated a lot different. And the issue between the Korean people and the Japanese people is similar to Palestinians and Israelis. The Japanese were colonizers. They did horrible things to the Korean people. They took Korean women and used them to service the Japanese troops, and American troops also did that and are still doing it in Korea. So, colonizer is going to act like a colonizer. And it's not just somebody did something years ago. It's a long history of abuse and oppression. So I think that's it for me right now.
You're right on time. And it's also 11:13. So if there's no one else that wants to get on the list, I think we can move forward to the wrap up. I think everyone has had an opportunity to speak. So we'll start with Amal, and you take 1 minute to make your final thoughts. Or you can take 2 minutes because we've got plenty of time. There's only 7 of us.
Great article. And like I said, I'm not a fan of Vance's or the current was he 47 now? How do we describe him? That guy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And like I said, those will be people that I wouldn't want to live next door to. I wouldn't want David Duke as a neighbor, so it's not like I say, I'm not offended by what he said. It doesn't make that what he said right. It just means that it doesn't offend me. And I want him to understand and know that he's included in the very statement that he made. I wouldn't want him as a neighbor. He probably wouldn't want me as one, and I'm fine with that. But you're not offending me, because I think sometimes people say things for shock value and they want to offend, and people respond as an offended person. And I'm just not going to give him the pleasure of being offended by what he said. Thank you for making your statement. I appreciate that. And know and understand that the feeling is mutual, that I don't want you next door to me equally as you might not want me next door to you. So that's my comment.
Thank you. JD Vance is 41.
41?
41. Yes.
Oh, no. When I say 47, I meant the number that Donald Trump's falling on the presidency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 45, but he's 47 now, right?
47.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. Beatrice.
Thanks for the article and the conversation. I'm just always distressed, disturbed, disappointed when people make public statements that further marginalize people who are already in such turmoil. Immigrants, the way people are being treated with by ICE, statements that further fractionalize um, our country. We just can't afford. We don't have time for it. We don't. It's just we don't. We need to have someone with an who recognizes first of all that you're always on an open mic. See, he just thinks like when you talk, nobody hears you. Like the guy in the article said, you are always heard, and so it's just distressing that such a person is in, as I said earlier, in an elected position of power who is further fractionalizing a fragile democracy that we are holding on to with our very fingers. That every day, I mean, the killing, the murder of the Venezuelans, the people in those boats. You got people in the Caribbean that are afraid to go fishing because first of all, some bodies rolled up or washed up on the shore in a Caribbean country, but people are afraid to do their livelihood, go out further in the water to go fish because of what this man has declared war on any boat it. The kinds of things that we are having to see go on in this country are disturbing. So this man's talk is so destructive, so disappointing. And I wish we had people with moral fiber, people who have microphones, people who have pulpits that we listen to that are healing and places of compassion, places that recognize that we are a multicultural country and we're a young country. That's what's so disturbing. We are a young country when you think about it. And if we could just get together and move in the right direction, but we're going backwards. We're going backwards, and it's just going to take a lot of work. And I'm 81, like I tell you all the time. I don't know if I'm going to see us ever get back on the right path that in the 60s we struggled to get us to. Look what's happening to the voting rights law. I hate to end on such a negative thing, but it's going to come. It's going to be better. It's got to be better because God knows it couldn't be worse. Thanks for the article and conversation.
All right. Thank you, Beatrice. Marla?
Yeah, great conversation. I really appreciated everybody's input. I hear you, Beatrice. It's like clinging to whatever humanity I feel I still have and still seeing the humanity in everybody. And carving out your own little space with people and supporting people who really need the support right now. If you can be a grocery buddy for somebody who's losing SNAP benefits, do it. You know, the things that are really, really impactful in your own community. That's it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Marla. Glenn?
Yes, a very stimulating article, but the what Vance brung up has has nothing to do with what the American people are longing for or need. He just brung up something to feed the base, and he's going to keep doing that to feed the base because he saw how Donald Trump kept feeding the base, and he wants to be the one that the base will choose when Donald Trump cannot run anymore. So he's going to keep saying things like this to stir up the base. That's all it's about. Not a, it's not a vital need that the American people uh, need at this moment. That's it.
Thank you, Glenn. Malcolm?
Very nice discussion. I appreciate all of you. I know that some of you have been around and understand what's going on and feel very strongly about it. But uh, we're living in a tough time right now, and I'm not sure how we grab, how we get out of this hole that we've dug, or we're allowed to be dug, and we need to find a way out of it where not so many people are getting hurt, like all the people who lost their SNAP benefits, and the workers who can't go to work, or they have to go to work and they're not getting paid. You know, um, in some ways, the Democrats and Republicans are both responsible, but what what can we do about it? I mean, at this point, I don't want my insurance benefits to fly over, or health benefits to go triple up. At the same time, I want to see them go into Congress and do the right thing, and making sure that the young lady who got elected out in Arizona, I think it is, that she gets her seat. That shouldn't be happening. You know, I think we've lost faith in some of the government, because I've lost faith, and I mean, I grew up. That's my history, political science and the Constitution and everything, and I'm seeing the Constitution just being walked over, just because somebody decided that they want to be retaliatory against those people who were uh, that he feels that he was wronged by, and he's just dragging people down, and he's dragging a lot of us down. But I really appreciate the article. I think you people, uh, you people. Oh, that's a good one. It's a real good one. You people. But I think you all have done a great job in trying to put some faith and face to some of this stuff, and give us something to talk about, and maybe find common ground. So I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Malcolm. And Phyllis?
So when I think about who I want to be my neighbor, it's not about who they are, um, ethnically, where they're from, or what they look like. It's about what do they do, not job wise, but like personal wise. And like I could have a neighbor who looks just like me. Somebody who looks like me is statistically the person who's going to be cooking meth in their house. So that's what I think about. It's like, what are they doing over there? And is it safe for the whole neighborhood? Um, and I also want to say a quote I heard this morning about the Kirk Vance hug was woman said, I've let hot pockets cool longer than Erica Kirk grieved her husband. I know. I guess
That's
Marla heard that too.
that's a mic drop.
It is a mic drop. Okay, I'm done. Thank you, Nancy.
All right. Thank you, Phyllis. Okay. Well, I don't really have much more to add. I just thought it was, like I said initially, for him to verbalize, what he said, I thought was rather just for the position that he's in, to verbalize something like that was very disturbing, and shines a light on the direction that this administration and this country is headed in. But my personal views on everything that I've heard commented today were, there's always two sides to an argument. All right. And, on the one hand, that what he said was disturbing, but it also kind of leads to a larger argument about having the right to choose where you want to live. Okay. On both sides. On both sides. Okay. I mean, if you want to live, you make, if you can afford to live, say, wherever you want to live. Not everybody has that opportunity or that financial ability to do so. But if you can live wherever you want to live, and, as Amal said, I have the right to have the preference, but I don't have the right to insist that who moves in next door. So there are two sides to that argument. I saw that as I was reading it, you know. I don't know, for example, well, there's a lot of examples. I won't take up a whole lot of time in that, but there's a whole lot of examples that you could use. Say, for example, you lived in an apartment building, and I'm trying to think of somebody's food who is very fragrant, because this happened in my son's apartment building. I think they're African. I think that's where they're from. They might be Caribbean. I'm not sure. But they done like literally lit up that whole floor with this food. Okay. Now, I didn't move in there. I mean, I pay my rent. I have a right to live there without having to smell your food. You see what I'm saying? I mean, anyway. So there's arguments like that, lend to personal freedom, personal choice, things like that. Okay. Um, the house that I live in, okay, I bought from a Vietnamese family. There were 4 families living in this house. Okay. It's a 4-bedroom house, and each family had a bedroom. All lived in the same bedroom. And the reason that and they cooked in the kitchen. Okay. I'm not in the kitchen, in the garage. All right. And the food was fragrant. It took me 6 months to get that smell out of that garage. But the reason I'm saying all of that is because some people say, well, I wouldn't have, bought, but I think it's a nice house. I've been here almost 30 years. But they pooled their money and bought a hotel over in Mississippi. That's why they did that. I mean, you can't really try to, look inside somebody's closet or their pocket, try to judge what they're doing. It's really none of your business. Okay. So, anyway, I just want to say that. And also, not to overlook the role that the real estate industry plays in all of this. Okay. Because when you say you start seeing a neighborhood become more ethnic for one group of people, a lot of time real estate agents have a lot to do with that, in terms of who they will show this house to. As the neighborhood becomes more ethnic or in favor of one group or the other, they're not going to show that house to everybody. They're only going to show it to certain people. All right. Also determines the price of the house. Anyway, there are a lot of factors that go into that, and I just thought that this was a very interesting article and a subject, and also something that you should watch and be on the lookout for. So anyway, I guess we can stop recording.